Hey guys, so we are looking into the properties of parallel lines. Tuesday we looked at the different types of angles. Now we're looking at the relationship in their angles. So this is like the second half, the second major portion of this unit. So right off the bat, we're going to get into this corresponding angles. If you need to go ahead and pause this and write this down, and then we'll talk about it. All right, so it says if a transversal intersects two parallel lines, that's important, then the corresponding angles are congruent. So that's the relationship. Okay, if you got parallel lines, corresponding angles are congruent. So if we look at here, let's practice identifying our corresponding angles. And now, instead of just identifying them, so our relationship between angle 1 and angle 5, angle 1 is going to be congruent to angle 5. All right, that is going to be our relationship there. And we can do it for the rest. 2 and 6, angle 2 is congruent to angle 6. Finding out our other correspondings. 3 and 7 is congruent to angle 7. And then last but not least, 4 and 8. Angle 4 is congruent to angle 8. That means whatever their measures are going to be equal. They're going to be the same. All right, so this is our first major postulate that we will need to know. So based off of that information, we are tasked with finding the measures of all of these angles in this photo right here. All right, just based off of what we know is true. So as you can see right here, we've got our 55 degrees. All right, so we've got to figure out all the rest of them. Well, right off the bat, we just learned that corresponding angles are congruent. So that 55 degrees right there is corresponding to angle 7. So we know angle 7 is 55 degrees. I'm going to kind of mark through that number 7 since we already figured that out. Now we've got to figure out the rest of these without knowing any other properties. All right. Ways that we are going to figure this out is we are going to use what our knowledge about vertical angles. All right, vertical angles are congruent. And we're going to use our knowledge of linear pairs. They are supplementary. Or they add to 180. Right, as a reminder, a linear pair forms a straight line, and your vertical angles are across from each other. So we're going to use our knowledge about that to figure out the rest of these problems. So if we go back to our blue 55 degrees, let's go ahead and find our vertical angles. Which one, so if we're looking here at our 55, our original, which one, 1, 2, or 4 is going to be its vertical angle? Correct. Number 1 is its vertical angle. If those two are vertical angles, that means angle 1 is also 55 degrees. All right, let's do the same thing when it comes to that angle 7 that we found. Which one is its vertical angle? Number 5 across from it. So angle 5 is also 55 degrees. All right, so far we found out the 4 of the 8. Now let's go back to our original, our starting 55, and let's use our knowledge of linear pairs. So linear pairs create a straight line. All right, so we could really use 2 or 4. I'm just going to use 4. So as you can see, that 55 and my angle 4 are creating a straight line. All right, that means they are supplementary, which means they add to 180 degrees. So we know that 55 degrees plus whatever angle 4 is equals 180. So to solve for angle 4, what do we need to do? Subtract 55 from both sides. And if we subtract 55 from both sides, what does that leave us with? 125. So that means angle 4 is 125 degrees. Now we could use that linear pairs theorem over and over again, or we can go back to our vertical angles. We now found that 125 is at angle 4. Well, which one is its vertical angle? 2. So the one right across from it, angle 2, is also going to be 125 degrees. If we use our corresponding angles to this 125 that, oopsies, let me try that again. This 125 that we just found, which one is its corresponding angle? Angle 8. And so we talked about correspondings are congruent. So if that 125 we just found is, if that angle is 125, our angle 8 is also 125 degrees. And then going back to vertical angles, across from 125 is angle 6. And because those are vertical, that is also going to be 125 degrees. You've possibly picked up a small pattern with this. So let's go ahead and define. So based off of this, we can make assumptions about all of the other angles. So first things first, right here, alternate interior angles. If a transversal intersects, again, important thing is parallel lines, then alternate interior angles are congruent. Right, alternate interior angles. So if we use this photo over here, that means alternate interior of angle 4 and angle 6 are congruent, and alternate interior angles of angle 5 and angle 3 are congruent. All right, these are the relationships that are so super important to know. All right, if we just keep rolling with it. Same side interior, this one's a little bit different. Pay attention to it. Again, you're still intersecting parallel lines. That is important. But this time, same side interiors are supplementary. What does supplementary mean again? It means they add to 180. All right, so you've got, so this one is the different one. I'll go ahead and let you know. Same side interior is the different one. So if these are adding to 180 and we set up our problems, angle 4 and angle 5 are same side interior. So that means angle 4 plus angle 5 is going to give you 180 degrees. If we focus on the other side, angle 3 and angle 6, angle 3 plus angle 6 gives you 180 degrees as well. All right, our final one down here, alternate exterior angles. Again, parallel lines being an important aspect of this. If you've got those two parallel lines, then alternate exterior angles are congruent. All right, so you can see everything's congruent except for those same side interiors and the linear. All right, those add up to 180. So your alternate exteriors of angle 1 and angle 7, angle 1 is congruent to angle 7. And then our other side, angle 8 and angle 2. Ooh, that's kind of weird. Maybe y'all can read that. Angle 8 is congruent to angle 2. If you can't read that yellow, let me know. I won't use it again. I think it looks cool though. All right, so those are all the definitions or the relationships that you really need to know for this unit. We are going to practice, so go ahead and flip to page 2. All right. And scroll, and not scroll down, y'all aren't scrolling. Skip down to example 2 and example 3. So example 2, it says to find the measure of the indicated angle. So this is the angle down here, that question mark. So we can even say that that's x. The first thing I want you to do when we are solving these, all right, first thing is to identify what type of angle these are. So example number 2, what type of angle is this? These are same side interior. And then I want you to identify what is that relationship. Same side interior. What is the relationship of same side interior angles? They add to 180 degrees. All right, I want you to do this for every single problem. I know it seems monotonous. I know you're going to get annoyed with it, but I want you to do it. So if these add to 180 degrees, let's set up our equation because we actually need to solve for x. So we add them together. 114 plus x equals 180. To solve for x, we subtract 114 from both sides. And when you subtract those, oops, it's gonna write, we're going to be left with x equals what? X is going to be 66. All right. For number 3, this is going to be our last example. All right. Number 3, oops, sorry, hold on. Leela, no. Sorry, guys. Kitty cat got in the way. All right, number 3, first things first, I want you to follow the same pattern. What type of angles are these? These are alternate interior. And what do we know about alternate interior angles? What's their relationship? They are congruent. So if things are congruent to each other, then we set them equal to each other. So we are going to set these equals. So, oops. Yeah, I'm struggling right now. Set these equals. So 102 equals, we're going to set our two angles, 102 equal to 8x plus 14. So if they are congruent to each other, we're going to set them equal to each other. So now we need to solve for x. Subtract 14 from both sides. 102 minus 14 gives us what? We should be left with 88. So 88 equals 8x. And then our next step is to divide both sides by 8. So we have 11 equals x. And that would be your final answer since they are just asking you to solve for x. All right, so that is where we're going to stop for today. If you are going to be virtual tomorrow, being Thursday, then that means you need to go ahead and, if you would like to go ahead and start working on these practice problems, then tune in tomorrow with questions. If you're going to be in person tomorrow, go ahead and take a breather. You are done for the evening. All right, I will see y'all later this week.